Awesome. We are live. Happy Wednesday night, loves. My name is Dani LeBerry. If this is the first time you're checking out my Facebook Live, welcome. Thanks for checking out the video. I'm Dani LeBerry. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and a happiness transformation coach, and I typically work with people who are feeling unhappy, unfulfilled, overwhelmed, anxious, feeling down, stressed out. So tonight's Facebook Live discussion is on dealing with isolation slash relationships in the home. So whether you are an essential worker and you have been going to work, or you have been quarantined, or you've been isolating because of what's going on right now with the coronavirus, whether you live by yourself or you live with family, with kids, with a significant other, we're going to be touching tonight on some ways to cope and to deal with some of the changes going on around us. So let's jump in. I'm going to start. This discussion tonight is going to be divided up. So the first portion of this Facebook Live is specifically for people who are isolated, who are experiencing loneliness, who have been isolated by themselves. So first of all, it's normal to feel any sort of stress when faced with staying inside, especially when you think of other underlying stressors such as financial stress, things like that going on, because we're interacting less with people. So my first tip in dealing with isolation right now is diversions or distractions. Helps you to avoid ruminating in your thoughts, taking on little projects, thinking about things or doing things like, for example, going for a walk, reading a book, watching a movie, writing, maybe check out a TED Talk, go for a run, clean, organize, bike ride, do a craft, practice a hobby, rearrange a room. These are all things that can be done inside the home. If you are feeling isolated, keep to a schedule. If you've been watching some of my Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives in the last couple weeks, I have been talking about that a lot. Sticking to a schedule. Trying to go to bed around the same time and waking up around the same time every day, regardless of what's going on, because that helps keep a sense of structure, a sense of routine. And as human beings, we thrive on structure. The third tip: limit social media and or news intake. I don't think we realize just how much we are on our phones, just turning on the TV, being mindful as to how much we are taking in. Watching from Princeton, that's my mom. Hi, Mom. So limit your social media and your news intake. Sometimes if we watch too much news, it can affect our mood. It can really bring us down. Now, I'm not saying to be completely ignorant and not watch the news at all, especially since my mom is watching right now. She's very hard on me about watching the news. So I'm not saying be completely ignorant and oblivious to what's going on. But sometimes I know one of my private practice clients, he was constantly watching the news, and it was causing a significant impact in his depression. So be mindful of that. The fourth tip: stay active. Not much else to say about that. If you think about if we think about when you're running errands, going places, movement, we had a lot of movement. So even though it may seem like, okay, well, just keeping in mind of being active, moving around. Some people have told me, Dani, working out at home doesn't work for me. It's very difficult. It's very challenging for me to do that. Move around, dance, do other things. Just find a way to move your body, because holding on to stress and just keeping it in your body is not healthy. You'll find yourself either very snappy, very frustrated, very anxious. I know some of my clients have reported to me crying at times and not even knowing why they're crying, but they haven't been active. It's the body just storing up that stress and holding on to it. The fifth tip: do something meaningful. Only you're going to know what that means. I can give you some ideas. For example, an online course, reading a book, or checking out. I know right now I'm in the middle of a couple different programs. One of them, modules, rebuilding and revamping my private practice. Do a little work each day. Volunteer. Get out of your head. So definitely consider doing something meaningful. Another reason, let me emphasize how important doing something meaningful is before I skip to the next step. If you're not doing something meaningful, it is easy to lose a sense of purpose. And if we don't feel or experience a sense of purpose, it's easy to fall into a feeling of sadness, a feeling of loneliness, a feeling of why am I even here? What is the point anymore? And before you know it, you're in a very deep rabbit hole of sad, unpleasant emotions. Sixth tip, connecting with others. Send a handwritten letter or postcard. I know that's a little old school or old fashioned. Call someone, FaceTime them, Zoom. You could also, there's other ways too to connect with people. Posting on your social media, on your Facebook, replying to other people's posts, texting, joining and participating in Facebook groups, online forums. I'm such a proponent of Meetup. If you're not familiar with Meetup, check it out. They didn't pay me to say this. Meetup.com. It's free to use. You put in your zip code and you find out about all the events in the area. When I say events, I mean different kinds of clubs, meetups, groups, organizations, from book clubs to dance clubs, music, museums, art, all different sorts of art, literature, different sorts of hobbies on Meetup. And you can, like I said, you can use it for free. I'm always recommending that to my clients. As a matter of fact, I have 2 or 3 different Meetup groups that I'm an organizer of. So if you search, I'm not sure if you search my name, but one of them is the Self-Improvement Meetup group. The other one is the Boca Raton Beach Meditation Tribe. And the third one is my Codependent No More group. If you're currently following my content, you'll see right now I'm in the middle of a group series. So join a group online, connect with other people. I know that right now because of the quarantine and some of the laws, and depending on where you're watching my video from, I'm not sure what the rules are, the laws are where you are, but let's just say that it is very restricted. Even if there are restrictions in place, you are still able to connect with people via online. The 7th and my last tip for isolation. Find sources of comfort. Give yourself a foot massage or use a foot spa. Take a bath. Play with your pet. Hopefully you have a pet. Cook healthy comfort foods. Have a cup of tea. I'm very big on smell goods. So whether that's lighting incense, lighting a candle, running your diffuser, your essential oil diffuser, practice sleep hygiene, kind of like what I was saying earlier. So those are 7 tips for dealing with isolation in the home if you are isolating currently by yourself. Now, let's jump into the second portion of this Facebook Live. If you are in a relationship, I have been getting messages from people I don't know to some of my private practice clients saying things like, Dani, I have been fighting with my husband. I have been fighting with my girlfriend. I can't take it. So this portion of this Facebook Live is for you. So we have about, I want to say 6 tips here. One of them, before I jump in, let me just point out that stress can heighten people's idiosyncrasies. So anxious habits are often coping mechanisms for us. So you got to imagine, I'm going to use myself for an example. I already suffer from anxiety as it is. So under this sort of circumstance right now, my anxiety is going to be even worse because of what's going on. So I may be doing things that maybe my partner's not aware of, and now that I'm under this sort of stress, now all of a sudden these things are showing up. All right, so our first one here is communication is best. What you were able to tolerate before, you might not be able to tolerate now. Kind of like what I was just saying, for instance, biting my nails or chewing loudly. These may be things that perhaps my partner might not have noticed and now does because we're spending so much time with each other. So those are silly little examples, but there may be other things that lead to huge disagreements or conflict. So making sure that you're able to talk about things, and not only just talking about things, but really coming from a place of understanding each other and talking about things in a loving way. So for example, instead of saying something like, stop biting your nails, you might want to say something like, hey, hon, babe, however you refer to your partner as, I see that you've been biting your nails a little bit more often. Is there, how are you feeling? Just checking in with them, seeing how they're really doing. Number two, compromise and do your best to have empathy. If one partner feels better, this is an example, if one partner feels better about grocery delivery and then grocery shopping and you can afford it, why argue? Let the argument go. No point in fighting. Just let it be. Even if you feel that it's unnecessary, there needs to be the third tip. There needs to be a space for you to feel like you. A space where you can listen to music you like, engage in your own hobbies. Because once you start feeling like you're losing yourself in a relationship, that brings on a whole new type of anxiety. Don't feel selfish if you feel like you need some time to go for a walk by yourself. Personal space can be refreshing and it can also make you a better partner. The fourth one is date night. So it's important to keep that fire alive in the relationship. Just because you're spending 24/7 together does not count as quality time. Quality time is quality time. It's designated time. So here are some examples or some ideas. Get delivery from your favorite restaurant. Puzzles right now are trending, I noticed. Get into do a pillow fort or a pillow fight, things like that. My fifth tip, show kindness to each other. You're in this together. And I wanted to bring that up because conflict sometimes can cause us to turn on our partner. It can be very easy for us to feel like it's me versus them rather than we're in this together. Remember, this can cause people a lot of stress. A lot of different things are coming up for different people, underlying things that maybe they might not have resolved before. So small acts of kindness can make your partner feel less alone. And I'm always, something that I work with my clients on is sometimes, money. I understand money can be a factor, but these things do not have to cost a lot of money or any money at all. A note, a little love letter, a little sticky note. I was thinking of you. Hope you have a great day. An affectionate afternoon text, even when in the same room. Getting their favorite candy or chocolate, just some sort of thing to say or show I was thinking of you when you're on the grocery store. The sixth and last tip for dealing with relationships in the home. This is going to sound a little weird and a little silly, but stay with me on this, okay? The last one is thanks, Colin. Thanks for joining. I forgot I had you on my Facebook. I'm so used to seeing you on my Instagram lives. I appreciate you coming on here. Schedule arguments, write frustrations down, talk about them at an appropriate time. And if you have kids, this should be happening away from their ears. So the reason I bring this up is because depending on what you do for your line of work, if you are working, say for example you are working and your employer has gotten you back to work, arguments and conflict can stir up a lot more stress and a lot of emotions. So instead of, for instance, it's a Monday morning and let's say your partner is going off to work, rather than having an argument with them on the Monday morning at say 7 a.m., they're getting ready for work and they're on, getting ready to go to work and they're starting their day. Any kind of disagreement or conflict, this is not a good time for it. If there are there are things that you're unhappy with, write them down. Get grounded and write them all down. And then in the evening time or nighttime or whatever time works for you and your partner, that is going to be a time where you have that appropriate time to discuss that, rather than stirring up a lot of things. And now they've got this, they're going into work with the stress and the anxiety and the angst of the conflict that they just had with you. So those are some of my tips. Now, I just want to finish this Facebook Live. I know I'm going into 15 minutes here. I'm hoping that this content is very helpful for you. How to cope. Make a coping list. Make a list of the things that help you feel good. Write down what soothes you, music, meditation, running. What are the things that you do that help you feel better? And then make a second list This is for the relationship people. Make a second list of things that your partner does that helps you relax, whether it's back scratches or maybe they make the morning coffee. Have a daily laugh time. It could be as simple as routinely sending funny memes, watching funny videos, watching pets, dogs, animals, babies that laugh. Daily laugh time. Make some time for yourself to cut the edge off. I love Kevin Hart. Watch Kevin Hart. Watch Netflix. The last tip I have for how to cope: say goodnight. This is for relationships. Say goodnight every night. End the day on a positive note. So whether you're frustrated, you're peeved, try as much as you can to release it, let it go, find an appropriate time to talk about those things with your partner, but always try every night to end on a good note, to end on a positive note. Good night. I love you, I care about you, whatever that may be. So those are my tips on dealing with isolation in this quarantine in the home, as well as dealing with relationships in the home. If you found this video to be helpful, please share this video. If anything came up for you, or if someone shared this video with you and you have no idea who I am and you're like, who is this lady talking to me about these things? Again, my name is Dani LeBerry. If anything came up for you on this topic, please feel free to contact me, send me a message. You can reach me at Dani, D-A-N-I, at DaniLeBerry.com, or you can check out my website, www.DaniLeBerry.com. Again, I hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your night.